Good evening. Let's try that again. Good evening. It's a lot better. Before we get started, I'm going to give a few announcements. But before we do that, PVAMU! We're going to try that again. All right? Everyone is invited to participate. So when I say PV, you guys say you know. Pretty simple? All right. PV! A lot better. For those unfamiliar with our lecture, Spit Knowledge was designed to enhance our students' college experience with exposure to topics that otherwise may not have been addressed inside of the classroom. Previous speakers include Susan L. Taylor, Dr. Naeem Akbar, Tim Wise, Ambassador Andrew Young, Chuck D., Kimba Smith, and many more. And on the calendar for next year, in February, we'll have the General Russell Honoré, and in March, Judge Glenda Hatchett. After the lecture, DVDs will be available for sale as well as on tomorrow in the Memorial Student Center on the first floor from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'd ask you all to please be considerate of others around you by silencing your cell phones and remaining seated until the end of the lecture. To our technologically savvy guests, Minister Farrakhan will be answering a few questions at the conclusion of his message. Your question could be selected. Pull out your phones now and tweet him at Louis Farrakhan, L-O-U-I-S F-A-R-R-A-K-H-A-N, and use the hashtag #FarrakhanAtPV. I'll repeat that again. Use the hashtag FarrakhanAtPV. And for those who have never been to one of our Spit Knowledge lectures, we have a tagline that you need to become familiar with as it calls for your participation. I give it to you and you reply, Spit Knowledge. And this is how it goes. And now, PV family, join me in welcoming Minister Farrakhan to Spit Knowledge. Cool, let's try that again. We want everybody to participate. So, and now, PV family, join me in welcoming Minister Louis Farrakhan to Spit Knowledge. Thank you.
I'm City Councilmember Jarvis Johnson from the great city of Houston, and certainly it is a pleasure to be here at Prairie View and at Prairie View A&M University. I know that I used to be an honorary Prairie View A&M student when I was at Texas Southern because I used to travel up this way a lot. Great people in Prairie View. A great university in Prairie View A&M. But it is indeed a pleasure and an honor for me to be here as I look out in the audience and see a lot of Houstonians, many from the great district of District B that I represent. And it's certainly an honor for me to be here as I pay homage to a great man that has been doing wonderful things, not only in the city of Houston, not in the great state of Texas, not only in the United States of America, but all over the world, as he has advocated for black men and women in equality and unity. And so it gives me great honor today as I pay homage and provide a proclamation on behalf of my office in the city of Houston. And I will not take a lot of time. I simply want to read it, and it says this with great pleasure, that the city of Houston recognizes the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. We honor you as the Nation of Islam leader for the last 56 years of service in the struggle for freedom, justice, and equality of black people and the entire human family. We applaud you for organizing and leading the Million Man March at Washington's National Mall, advocating for unity, atonement, and brotherhood. With the Million Man March, you woke up the consciousness of millions of men in America and around the world. The selfless sacrifice you have made to fulfill your community responsibilities and your willingness to serve is indeed deserving of the respect, admiration, and commendation of the Houston City Council. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of the City of Houston, we certainly want to say to Minister Farrakhan, thank you. We love you for all the work that you have done. As I look out and see all the strong brothers and sisters in this audience, we certainly thank you for being here tonight. But when you leave tonight, don't leave with just a message. Leave with a message to take forward so that we can go grab other strong brothers and sisters so that we can bring our communities forth and unite them in strong unity amongst black people. Thank you, and assalamu alaikum.
Good evening. First, giving all praises and honor to God. I am extremely honored and deeply humbled to be a part of this great event. And let me add my voice to those you've already heard. And on behalf of the citizens of beautiful Prairie View, Texas, welcome you to beautiful downtown Prairie View. The preeminent scholar, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, and his monumental book, Souls of Black Folk, talked about the streams of thinking that came down to us from the death ship. That second stream he talked about was that of the older South. And I often like to remind folks that here in Texas, we are in the older South. He said that the older South fervently and passionately believed that somewhere between man and cattle, God created this tertium quid, this intermediate thing, and called it a Negro, a simple, clownish creature, yet lovable within its limitations. But he said behind that thought was an even darker and sinister afterthought that the older South also knew that perhaps by chance, some of them may become living men and women. Some of them may learn to use their intellect. So here tonight, we have a chance to hear from a great orator, a great scholar, a deep thinker, a very spiritual man. So on behalf of the citizens of Prairie View, Texas, I want to present to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan the key to our city. And the citation reads as thus. Key to the city presented on behalf of the citizens of Prairie View, Texas, this 9th day of November 2011, to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for his great work in helping our people lift the remaining vestiges of the carefully constructed cultural veils that have transitioned forward with us from the era of African American slavery, and for empowering us with relevant knowledge that has both strengthened and enhanced our natural endowments of freedom, liberty, and self-determination as we continue to move forward here at the point on the frontiers of change, presented by Frank D. Jackson, Mayor. To the Minister. God bless.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet my beautiful spiritual family in greeting words of peace that we say in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of S.P.I.T Knowledge and the Nation of Islam Student Association, we would like to thank you all for being present at such a glorious event. I, Danae Muhammad, am honored to serve as your Vice President of PV Chapter, Nation of Islam Student Association, alongside our President, Amari Muhammad. Being in attendance on this day will be one that no one will forget. To show everyone that we can come together and hear a powerful message from such a humble and honorable man as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is priceless. It has been nearly 25 years since Minister Farrakhan came to Prairie on this very stage. Many from this university went forth in the world as giants from the life-giving knowledge received December 1st, 1988. History is being made and truly a blessing. After hearing this message, let us take this blessing and put it to use in a positive, uplifting, elevated way so that we can truly live up to our school's motto that Prairie produces productive people. Let us take the time out to acknowledge the potential found in our generation. Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us that we are the most powerful generation that our people has ever produced. Our worth is beyond measures, and our minds surpasses this world's intelligence. Yes, this message is for everyone, but more subjected to our generation. We, as the Nation of Islam Student Association, recognizes our generation's value. We are determined to motivate ourselves and others to strive and reflect positive attributes such as political, intellectual, social, spiritual, and academic excellence. Let us be open-minded to this message tonight. Thank you from S.P.I.T Knowledge and the NOISA for your presence, and we pray you will enjoy.
Good evening. Good evening. How are we doing tonight, beautiful people? I first want to thank the Honorable Dr. Minister Louis Farrakhan for being here tonight. I don't think many of you in this room, in the upper decks, the younger people, realize what kind of an opportunity you have here tonight. This is history. It's important that we acknowledge that we are in the presence of history and in the presence of greatness. And when I say that, I mean each other, because we are all great people. I want to thank the other esteemed members of City Council, the members of the nation, but more importantly, I want to thank the young people that chose to be here tonight. I travel across this country as a representative of a hip-hop nation, and let me tell you, I see what's happening with the economy like you do. I see what's happening in our community. I see what's happening with the educational resources available for our children. And it's my belief that they're doing this because they don't think you care, students. They don't believe that you guys are willing to stand together. They don't believe that you guys are willing to fight for what's rightfully yours. And frankly, they don't believe that you care. But when I look at this room and all of these strong, beautiful, black, brown, white brothers and sisters in here, I know that's a lie. I know that is a lie. Prairie View A&M University has a long-standing tradition of taking some of the smartest and brightest forward-thinking individuals in our community and sending them out in the world with the information and the resources that they need to take charge and lead us into the future. So while you're here on campus, enjoying yourself, going to parties and doing things, please don't pass up the opportunity to educate yourself, to prepare yourself, to enlighten yourself and inform yourself. Because more than ever, education is needed for this next generation. More than ever, preparation is needed for this next generation. More than ever, unity is needed for this next generation. Every generation before us has fought for what you now have. Soon you're going to be the parents and grandparents. What are you willing to fight for your children? What are you willing to fight for your grandchildren? We got to stand up and stand together, y'all. We're going to hear some powerful words tonight. And like Brother Jarvis said, don't just take the message in, take the message out. If you don't understand some things, talk to your fellow brothers and sisters tonight about what you hear. Thank you. God bless you.
It's no longer a rumor. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is indeed back at Prairie View A&M University after 23 years. Whether it's leading the community in voting rights, equality in politics, or fighting for freedoms across the world, Minister Farrakhan has been right there in the forefront. As the leader of the Nation of Islam and a resident of my hometown of Chicago, Illinois, our guest is a major piece to one of the wealthiest and best-known organizations in Black America, offering numerous programs and events designed to uplift African Americans. While we know him as a spiritual and civil rights leader, most may not have known that he is an acclaimed vocalist and violinist, the founder of the Final Call newspaper and author of A Torchlight for America. Minister Farrakhan is widely recognized for his involvement with the Million Man March, drawing close to 2 million men to convey to the world a vastly different picture of the Black male. As our third guest speaker for Spit Knowledge Lecture Series this year, I invite you not to let this opportunity pass. Listen to some information that will be given and do something with it. Our institution has been a wealth full of knowledge, bringing forth awareness and exposure to topics that otherwise would not have been taught in your traditional classroom setting. Today is another one of those opportunities. Minister Farrakhan's success is evidenced by mosques and study groups in over 120 cities in America, Europe, the Caribbean, Africa, and West Africa. Controversial? Maybe. But listen to his message and decide for yourself. And now, PV family, join me in welcoming the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to Spit Knowledge.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we give Him praise and thanks for His goodness and His mercy to the members of the human family, that whenever any member of the family strays from His straight path and earns His displeasure or His wrath, before He punishes, He always raises from among the people a prophet or a messenger to whom He gives what is called divine revelation, by means of which He guides that people back to His straight path and once again into His favor. As Muslims, we believe in all of the prophets, and we believe in the scriptures which they brought. So we thank Allah for Moses and the Israelite prophets that gave us what is called the Old Testament. We thank Almighty God for Jesus and the gospel and the apostles that gave to us what is called the New Testament. We thank Allah for Muhammad ibn Abdullah, who brought the final revelation from God to this world, a revelation that would guide humanity up to and through the judgment of this present world. We thank Allah, I do as a student, of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for his guidance that I'm going to share with you this evening. I thank Allah for his merciful intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the great Mahdi, who was to come and we believe has indeed come and walked among us and chosen from among us one to lead, teach, and guide us in this troubled time. I thank Allah for my teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and in their names I greet all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. That means peace be unto you. Well, I have to say, I am as excited as you are to be here at Prairie View once again. I heard my sister say it was 26 years, 23 years. I want to thank Sister Megan for her introduction. I want to thank His Honor, Mayor Jackson, for being here with us and honoring us by his presence. I want to thank the president of this great institution and the members of his staff and all of the professors. And above all, I'm grateful to Allah for the students who invited me here and for the administration who said it's all right for me to come. For the last 12 or 15 years, they have not wanted me on college campuses, not you, but they're powerful forces that wish to control the way young black college students think. And the sad thing about that is education should prepare you to listen to anyone and judge them for yourself as to whether they are worthy to be listened to. But no college campus should be afraid to bring someone in that is controversial. Contra means against. Verse means your version of the truth. And you know, when a liar has had you all your life and made you think less of yourself than you should, and kept us divided against self, and whenever a great leader stood up among us, they inspired us to turn on that leader, only later to find what a good man the brother or sister was. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me that if a man won't treat you right, what would make you think he will teach you right? So we've come tonight to set the record straight. We've come tonight to offer something that in your own soul you will know that your brother is speaking truth. And as Jesus said, you shall know the truth. Well, evidently at that time, the people did not know. But he spoke using future tense. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Then the scripture says, how can they know? Except they have a teacher. And how can they have a teacher except he be sent? And the same people that enslaved us will never send you the teacher that will free you from their grip. So we are honored to be at Prairie View tonight. I am so grateful to the students who invited me to come. And I thank Allah for our brother student minister in Houston, Brother Robert Muhammad, who always has been working hard in this area. And I thank Allah for Brother Jesse Muhammad, a graduate of Prairie View. Now let's get down to business. What is the purpose of education? Are we just in school to get an education so that we can go out and get a job and make some money and drive in a nice car and live in a nice home and abandon the ghetto and leave your brothers and sisters behind and think that you've made progress in the world? Is this what God intended when he asked us to go after knowledge from the cradle to the grave? And in this book, Quran, God introduces himself to the world in these words, Alif Lam Mim. And the scholars say it means, I, Allah, am the best knower. The person that has knowledge has potential power to remove any impediment in the pathway of our progress. The scriptures of the Bible say, my people are destroyed, not because they're black. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Knowledge, what kind of knowledge? The knowledge of self and the knowledge of God. These are the two most important of all knowledges, because when you know self, you know God. And when you know God, you know self. Because the scripture says he made man and woman in his own image and after his own likeness. The Quran says it a little differently. He made man to be his Khalifa, meaning one who stands in the place of God to rule the creation of God according to the will of God. So how could you be made in the image of God and not have the same qualities in you that God has in him? Think about it. Jesus said, how can you love God whom you have never seen and hate your brother or sister that you see every day? Well, what is it in your brother and sister that Jesus is saying, how can you love God whom you've never seen and hate your brother? Because if you hate your brother, you're showing hatred for God, because God is the creator of your brother as well as the creator of yourself. And the scripture says, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. Now you've turned it around. Yo, dog. What up, dog? Isn't that something? The scripture calls you a God, a child of the Most High God, but you know, out of love for one another, we say, yo, dog. That means you've been turned backward, upside down, and you are no longer the reflection of the attributes and characteristics of God. So we act like a dog. We treat each other like we are animals. In fact, the animals are better by their offspring than we are by ours. So we need a teacher. We need somebody to give us guidance. And that's why the enemy has not wanted Farrakhan to be on the college campus. What is the purpose of knowledge? You know this word education? It comes from two Latin words. E, which is the prefix, means out or out from. Duco means to lead. When you are truly educated, we are led out from darkness into light, from ignorance into wisdom, from weakness into strength and power. And that which God has put within is cultivated through education so that each human being who manifests what God has put within becomes the glory of God. Now think about this. The Quran and the Bible says everything that God creates glorifies Him. But man and woman is referred to as the glory of God. That's who you are. But you have not recognized how great you are. Not some foolish talk, we great. No. God has not created one thing mediocre. There's no such thing as a mediocre ant, a mediocre bee, a mediocre flea, a mediocre star, a mediocre tree. Everything that God has created is marked with excellence. Then how could we be the glory of God and not have within us gifts from Him that will manifest His presence? When we walk, God walks. When we talk, God talks. When we fight, God fights. If you are connected to God. And the aim of the enemy is to disconnect the people from the source of their power, their strength, their wisdom, their knowledge, and their life. So to be here at Prairie View, college that sits on 1,500 acres of land, and you don't realize what you have. Because if you understood the value of Prairie View, you wouldn't be begging somebody else to do something for you. You would take what you got and become a producer of the things that you need. Now tonight I would like to look at the value of our president, Barack Obama, and the cry of black and white and Hispanic: we need jobs. Isn't that what the people are saying? We need jobs. Brothers, sisters, since the 1940s, A. Philip Randolph was going to organize a march on Washington. And you know what A. Philip Randolph was going to march on Washington for? Jobs. That's in the 40s. Most of you, of course, you weren't even a thought then. Then Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement in 1963 had the great March on Washington. And what was it that they were asking for? Jobs and justice. That's 63. 20 years later, they had the 20th anniversary of the March on Washington, and I happened to be present. And guess what they were asking for? Jobs and justice. A few weeks ago on the Mall, the Reverend Al Sharpton led a march to encourage the people to get behind President Obama and his jobs bill. Now we're in 2011, and what is your cry? Jobs and justice. Shouldn't it dawn on you that something is wrong with that picture? That you've been since out of slavery. We all had a job, you know, full employment. But after they let us out of slavery, did you know that black folk set up over 60 black towns in America? Did you know that black people started building? I'm talking about, we were the artisans, we were the craftsmen. White folk didn't use hammers, white folk didn't use saws, white folk didn't have to plan how to build this and that, because they had us. We built their mansions, we built the White House, we built the Congress, we built the State House. How could you be a builder like that for somebody else, and now all of a sudden you don't know how to build nothing for yourself? Well, what kind of education have you been receiving? So I might have my doctorate degree in sociology, but America has some social problems that my degree can't heal. But I'm a doctor. I have my doctorate degree in economics, but America has some serious economic problems, and all my degrees in economics, I can't solve it. Now here's a man that has garbage on a barge going from the west coast, trying to find some place to dump garbage. But he's an economist. Did you know God wastes nothing? In his masterful economics, everything that lives dies, and everything that dies feeds life. No garbage. You turn garbage into usefulness. Right now, we're learning how to create soil. from what you throw away. There's a beautiful black brother up in Wisconsin. I want you to Google him up. His name is Will Allen, and he's the head of something called Growing Power. Now, before we leave tonight, you're going to know the power of the land that you're sitting on and what that land can do for you and me and us if we learn the value of it and how to draw out of the earth its richness and put it into the service of self. Now, our president is trying to get some jobs. There are nearly 20 million Americans that don't have jobs. Nearly 20 million. And you about to graduate. And you want to find what? Now, if you're a student of history, if millions of white folk don't have jobs, and they create jobs, who do you think is going to get the jobs first? I'm sure it's going to be you, right? Come on, brothers and sisters. White folk are going to look out for themselves first. And if there's anything left, maybe you might find something. But what creature do you know that looks to another creature to provide for it? Just name me one. There's no worm lines, worms looking for something to eat. God already provided. Ain't that something? The Bible says foxes have holes, birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Something wrong with that Son of Man. Because if a bird can build a nest and a fox can dig a hole, but we as sons of men have no place to lay our head, then something has happened to us. And what has happened to us, it does not allow us to earn the respect of others or even self-respect. So as young people, you're angry as hell. Why are you angry? Because your parents did not prepare a future for you. While we've been integrating and laying in and crawling in and crying in and begging in and sleeping in, enjoying the fruit of the civil rights movement, our children have been growing up, and all we have to give you at the time of our death is a car with some notes, a house with some notes. We have nothing to give you. So you're upset and you're angry, but look, what are you going to do now? Because you're here. You're about to get a degree. I don't know what that degree is going to be in, but if it's in sociology, you need to change your major. If it's in psychology, you need to change your major. Oh, Farrakhan, now don't talk like that. I got A last term in psychology. Yes, I know. But you got nieces and nephews that you can't control with all your psychology. You have no control, not only of those younger than yourselves, but we've lost control of ourselves. But, you know, we good in psychology, and the psychiatrist, poor thing, and he's on pills too. He's going down with stress, and poor doctors. Doctors don't live longer than the patient. So there's something wrong with the way we've been taught and trained, because we have not been made a productive people. Now, tonight, I won't be long, but I want us to really think tonight. We have a great opportunity to make a future for ourselves and our people. But it would be tragic for us to look to our brother president and put it all on him to make jobs for us, and we sit down and do nothing to create a job for ourselves. You know, our brother president, he's a beautiful human being, but you know how it is, like Herman Cain. No.
Go ahead,
No, he's a very brilliant man, I think. But Herman was over the restaurant, National Restaurant Association. That's a big job, isn't it? That's right. He's working for white folks. We got some brilliant black folk at Merrill Lynch, and brilliant black folk at the Federal Reserve, brilliant black folk running white folk business. And they give you a lot of money if you run their business right. But the problem is, after you get through running their business, when are we going to create business and run it for ourselves and the benefit of our people? Now, the United States of America is a corporation. And our president is the president and CEO of corporate America. I know you might have a little stock in that, not much. But don't you know he has to do their business first? He may not have understood that while he was campaigning. You know, people, when they campaign, they can say anything because they're not in the seat of power. But the moment they get in the seat of power, they begin to understand the dynamics that undergird that seat. He was not an economist. President Obama is a constitutional lawyer. That he knew. But when he became president, because he made us all feel we're gonna have a change here. I was not under any illusion. And I said it before my brother was elected, and I went out early in the morning and voted for him. But I said on CNN when they asked me, what do you think? I said, he's a brilliant young man with a lot of good ideas, but I'm not under any illusion that he can change the reality of this nation. Now, that's not diminishing him. But don't you know, when you become a governor, a senator, somebody in political power, you don't see the power behind the power. I have a watch that's moving. I can see what's going on the outside, but the real power is not on the outside. There's something on the inside that's unseen that makes what you see move. You the same. I'm looking at you. You looking at me. But I'm seeing a physical person, but I don't see the power in you that moves your tongue, that moves your eyes, that moves your brain to think. That is unseen. And the real power is not what you see. The real power is the unseen reality that moves what you see. Can you understand what I'm saying? Now, who is the unseen powers that move presidents? What happens to a president when he says, the first thing I'm going to do when I become president is close down Guantanamo Bay? 2 years, 9 months into the presidency, Guantanamo's still open. What happened? See, there are forces. When my brother became president, he surrounded himself with the people from Wall Street. Yes, he did. Timothy Geithner, who is he? Yes, he was from Goldman Sachs, right? Federal Reserve man, Larry Summers. These are all Wall Street folk. Well, if he trusts them, listen to me carefully, if he trusts them, they then said, we need a stimulus package. If we don't get a stimulus package, we're going to have the worst recession since the 1930s. What would you expect Obama to do? These are the people he brought around him to advise him. So he took their advice. And over $700 billion, $800 billion stimulus. Did you get stimulated? No. And not only that, but you didn't remember that just before he did that, George W. Bush got over $700 billion. Don't nobody know where the money went. Now, when you're surrounded by that kind of power that makes monetary policy, that prints money, did you know that the Federal Reserve printed $16 trillion and gave it out to banks in Europe and America and corporations, and the president didn't know nothing about it? Well, what kind of power is that you can print that kind of money and start doling it out, and the man that we elected as president don't know what is going on? You talk back to me and you'll have to tell me he's not the power. Neither was George W. Bush. No president has the real power. The power is what moves the money. The power is the international bankers. They run this. Corporations have lobbyists in Washington that spent over $2 billion last year for legislation to be passed that favors them, not you. Did you know, of course you may know, that the people that we send to Washington, many of them are very afraid to take a position critical of Israel? Did I say something wrong? Oh, tell me if I'm wrong now, because I didn't come here to be afraid.
Go ahead, brother.
And I hope to remove a lot of your fear before this night is over, because you don't have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Go ahead, brother.
Now look, if some of our elected officials say, you know, Israel gets $3 billion each and every year of America's taxpayer money and other grants and whatnot, and theirs comes right off the top. And did you know that the congressman from Delaware, Mr. Steny Hoyer, Maryland, he went to Israel when they had a little break, and he told the Israelis, even though there's an economic downturn, you will get what you've always gotten and then some. Now here are Americans that can't eat. Nearly 50 million Americans on food stamps. Did you hear me?
Yes, sir.
49 million have tasted poverty. And some are so poor they're way beneath the poverty line. Talk to me. 20 million out of work. Soldiers coming back after 3 and 4 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. And the job that they had before they were sent is gone, and there's no job for them. So Obama had to bring soldiers around him, veterans around him the other day to say that this part of my jobs bill you have to pass, because they haven't passed nothing of his jobs bill. And he's crying out for the soldiers now, please give us some money so that the soldiers, when they come home, can find employment. How many millions of Americans have lost their homes in this wicked scheme of banks, predatory lenders? Everybody wants a home, but to tell you you can have a home and you don't have adequate credit, but I'm gonna let you have a home. And here's the interest rate, and it looks like you can do it, and then all of a sudden the interest rate changes and you can't make the payment, and the next thing we know, you are on the street. Who is caring for you? Who is considering the poor of this nation? Even the president himself has not spoken for the poor. It's the middle class. But never are they speaking for the poor. And this country is built on the backs of the poor. And this is why in Roman society, they hated Jesus. You know why they hated him? Because the poor heard him gladly, and they knew that Jesus spoke for the poor. Even when the great statue of Martin Luther King was unveiled, the president said the job that Martin Luther King started has not been done. And that's true. It's not finished. That's true. But Martin Luther King was organizing a poor people's march when he was assassinated. And his successor, Dr. Ralph David Abernathy, kept that going, talking for the poor. Well, what are you here for? Are you going to be the educated brothers that becomes the new bourgeois group? The bougie students from Prairie View? We have a view on the prairie. And as we spy our suffering people from our lofty rooms, not houses, rooms. Brothers and sisters, as Malcolm said, we've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been had. We've been took. Now let's try to get it right. Let's go to the Bible. Y'all all right? By the way, hurry now. This is Mr. Grant. He's on a $50 bill. And, you know, we've done a lot of evil things to people over these dead presidents. But today, we want to talk about how we can take these dead presidents before they totally decompose and find some value in the dead president. But let's go to Genesis. You with me? Is this an agricultural college? Is it? It is? How many of you studying agriculture? Woo! In an agricultural college, raise your hands again. How many studying agriculture? Come on. All right. I got the message. Not too many. Now, you know, there's a problem when you have an aversion to agriculture. There's a problem with that. I want you to see how God began civilization. You got a Bible home? You do? Dust it off and start in the book of Genesis. And watch this. God starts creating all these wonders. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." It's great stuff. Then as God starts creating animals and whatnot, then he said, "And there was no man to till the ground." Think about that. That's the first thing that a man was supposed to do. Till the ground. He said there was no man to do that work. So Adam, when he made Adam, Adam came into a garden, just like you. You were born, you come out your mother's womb, you look around, everything that you need is right here. The sun is here, the moon is here, the stars are here, the trees are here, the land is here, the water is here, and you are here. But how come you and I are here non-productive? What was the command that God gave Adam? He said, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. Do you think he was telling Adam, have babies, multiply? He was telling him that, yes. I think that's the part of the message that we got. We didn't get the real meaning of multiply. When you go to 3rd grade, you learn your timetables, right? In your timetables, you have a multiplier, a multiplicand, and you get a product. So when God tells Adam, multiply, he's telling you, look, man, you're here. Look at what you're born into. It's all here for you, but you are the multiplier. The universe is the multiplicand, and you are to become a producer of a product. And when man is not a producer, then somebody else is producing for you. And that's what makes you a slave, by making you a consumer and not a producer. Follow this. Now, listen. Multiply. Replenish the earth. Here's where that kind of multiplication is advised. Re-people the earth. That's what you're supposed to do. Re-people the earth. But not re-people the earth and not be productive. How you going to have a lot of children and no productivity to feed them? Now look. See how easy it is to make a baby? You don't have to work hard. Some of you don't even work up a sweat. But when we look around, little Joey is here, little Susie is here. Oh man, Joey's here, Susie's here, but I ain't got no money to buy no Pampers. See how backward I am? I'm re-peopling, but I'm not productive. And then a man is supposed to have a woman. Now look at this. Sisters, I want you to listen to your brother tonight. God gave Adam Eve as a help meat. They could have just as well said mate. But it wasn't mate. It was meat. Not that she's a piece of meat. M-E-A-T, but she was to aid him in meeting the obligation that God had put on Adam when he told Adam, dress the garden. You're in a garden, but it needs dressing. You can't dress a garden unless you can take from the earth and beautify it. You got to be a producer. All right. So Adam said, well, all right, I'm going to produce. He makes Cain. Cain is the oldest son, right? It's a real dysfunctional family, let me tell you. It's a mirror of us today. He's the firstborn. Now remember, there was no man to till the ground. Cain was a tiller of the ground. Abel was dealing with sheep. He was in animal husbandry. Now look, let's come back to Prairie View. See, when God gave them a genesis, a beginning, the beginning starts with land and the cultivation of the land and animal husbandry on the land, and from that you have business and productivity that allows you to earn money or create product that you can barter. Oh my God, and you're sitting on land and you're not doing nothing with it. Now watch this. You remember Cain and Abel came to present a gift to God. You've heard the story, right? And it says God did not respect Cain's offering. I don't believe that. Because if there was no man to till the ground and Cain tilled the ground. Now, any of you that work land, farming is difficult work. Even with machinery, farming is difficult. You got to get up early in the morning and stay till late at night. You got to guard what you're raising against the enemies of what you're raising. And when you finally get a product and you bring it to the Lord and he says, I don't want that. Well, wouldn't you feel bad? Cain was upset. Then look at what the God says to him. Cain, why are you angry? Why has your countenance fallen? Sin lieth at the door. He's asking Cain an intelligent question. Talk to me, son. I put you out here. You did all this great work, and you think I'm just rejecting you and your work? Ask me why I accepted his lamb and rejected what you produce from the ground. A lot of us in our families, we have this tug of war between us and our siblings when we think that mama or daddy likes this one more than this one and accepts what this one does and not what this one does, and it produces dislike and hatred and discord and enmity and envy inside the house because you don't understand the far-reaching wisdom of God. Now, why did God accept a lamb? Abel didn't do no work. The male sheep did the work. And he got a lamb, and God accepted the lamb. You know what it's saying? God is saying to Cain, look, we're in the Genesis now, but I'm looking all the way at the end of the world that the rebelliousness of Adam produces. And at the end of that world, there will be a lamb without spot or blemish, and that lamb will reconcile human beings back to God. I'm not putting you down, Cain, but I'm looking far down the road to the end of this world when a lamb will come and take away the sins of the world and reconcile man to God. And you that are Christians, see, you know that that lamb represents Jesus, right? Now we're going to talk just a few minutes on this because most Christians don't think Muslims believe in Jesus. Who told you a lie like that? And you believe it? I ain't letting them Muslims come in here because they don't believe in my Jesus. Not only do we believe in him, but we attempt to follow him. You say, but you Muslims are with Muhammad. Yeah, we with Muhammad. But if you really understand Muhammad, you really understand Jesus better. Now, I don't have time to get into the deeper theological significance of all of that because my work tonight is just to get us to see the value of the land that you're sitting on called Prairie View. Now, our mayor, he gave me an education this morning because he knows this history backward and forward. of what has happened to this area, how it's produced, its weaknesses, and its strength. And I listened to him carefully this morning, and I'd like to share this with you and then open up for questions. Brothers and sisters, President Obama is not going to produce jobs for you. Can you wrap your mind around that reality? He's going to try. And he'll get high marks for trying, but you can't eat a try. Can I get a witness? Now, let's put Mr. Obama aside for a moment. What is our responsibility? Elijah Muhammad, I want you to listen to something that Elijah Muhammad said concerning us and why we must not rely on politicians to create a future for us. We have some very good politicians here. I like our sister, Sheila Jackson Lee. I like her. I like the judge, Al Green, Congressman Green. These are good people in a rotten system. Even good organs in a body that is metastasizing with cancer, even the good go bad when they can't produce what we elected them to bring us. The system is rotten. It's rotten. And when you get in it, you're going to have to understand why you have to constantly wash your politicians. When I say wash them, you know, Jesus always told the folk that came, go and wash in the pool of Siloam, you know. When you come out of these crooked houses where deals are made that cut the poor out, you always got to stay with your politicians. Don't elect them and turn your back thinking that everything is going to come back to you. You got to stay with them and stay on them to keep them clean. And at that, you're going to have a hard time. So the person that you're going to have to rely on is who? Who? Let's see then. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, as long as we are consumers and employees, our future is in the hand of somebody else. But if we are going to be producers, you cannot become a producer of what you need to extend your life without land. Land is the basis of all wars. They don't fight just to fight. They fight for access to land and the raw materials that are under that land or in that land. And the more access they have to land where there's oil, where there's gold, where there's uranium, where there are raw materials, and they know how to bring those raw materials out of the earth and make a product and put that product on the market to bring back revenue. That's how nations grow. You're too big now to be looking for somebody else to do these things for you. We've got to now do it for ourselves. But land is the basis. Now here you have, right here, our mayor told me, on 1,500 acres, and about 500 of it is used for the school, and there's 1,000 more, and 700 of that is used for farming and animal husbandry. We have hybrid cows and we have goats, and we wonder, you know, well, that's nice, you know, we have goat milk and that's nice, but our cows don't produce milk. They're beef cattle, and most of us are getting away from beef, you know. But now look at what can come from this land. Did you know, how many of you are aware of this book, Quran? How many of you are aware of it? It's a companion of the Bible. As a student of Elijah Muhammad, I study the Bible and I study the Quran. I study the Torah, I study the Injil, I study the Quran. Why? Because truth hugs and kisses truth. Truth doesn't fight truth. If the Bible is telling the truth, then the Quran will verify it. Now look at this. When we open the Quran, the first chapter of this book is called what? No. The first chapter is Al-Fatiha. Right? It's a prayer. 7 verses, right? But the second chapter is called the cow. Now I asked myself, I read this chapter many times, and then I asked myself, well, Allah, why did you name this chapter the cow? What is so important about the cow that after you introduce yourself to us, you name a chapter after a cow? The Quran calls God the Beneficent, and He gives to us these animals to bear our burden, from the cattle, from between the dung and the blood, a drink agreeable to the drinkers. You have clothing in it, and there are actually 10 industries that can come just from a cow. Now, if you want a job, we have to now start manufacturing in order to create jobs. You see what the government has done? They put manufacturing outside America into third world countries for cheap labor, and all the things that were made in America are no longer made in America anymore. When I was a young man, when we went to the store, in the back of the jacket, it said what? Made in America. You go and buy a dress, made in America. You buy a pillowcase, a sheet, a pair of jeans, made in America. In Massachusetts, there was a little town called Taunton, Massachusetts. It was the shoe capital of the world. We made the shoes that we wore. Your underwear, made in America. Everything, well, I guess you into hair now, and I'm not, I hope I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, but the Koreans got that locked down. They said, these black folk love hair, and I'm going to give them hair. And they get it in India. Everybody over there got long hair. They make sure they pay them a little money, cut it off, and fix it, and send it over here to us. And you know, good hair costs money. And some of you, I couldn't believe this. I really couldn't believe it. Paying $500, $600, $800, $1,000 for hair. Am I lying? No, sir. Now, sisters, you look pretty. I mean, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that's nothing wrong because you once had hair like that. He said, look at the hair on your eyebrows and the quality of the hair on your head. It's a big difference. Your hair used to be exactly what you're buying. It'll come back. But I mean, to spend that kind of money, bless your heart. Well, anyway, let's get back to the land. Now look at this. From a cow, you get food products. Do you know that from every part of the cow, you get cosmetics, you get pharmaceuticals, you get clothing, you get a grocery and supermarket industry, you get biofuel, dairy industry, you have to have harvesting equipment in order to work the fields just from having a cow. And you got how many cows over here? About 700 of them? And we got to put them fellas to work. Now look, the cow gave its hide to white folk. They not racist. That's right. The cow don't have a problem with you. It'll give you its hide. Take it and start making shoes. Styling, please. No, not these stilettos. Oh, sisters, do you know what you're doing to yourself? I mean, reality gonna set in, you know. And you can't wait to get somewhere. Whew. Sisters, these people that are making your garments, they're really freaks. So just listen to me. Look how beautiful you are, sisters. Look at the beauty of your form. I mean, you look at the beauty of your form. Because if we look at it, then we won't get no work done. The point is, as I said to Tamisha and Mr. Rudd, who questioned me today, I said, if you go and watch any movie where Jesus is in that movie, look at the women that are around Jesus. Have you seen one of them with a miniskirt? Come on. You can't even figure that thing out. The master and the woman is there. She can't sit down because her dress so short, she's exposed. Do you think Jesus would say, girl, you better lengthen that so you'll be more comfortable when you sit down? Now, the people that are dressing you, they're dressing you to make you an object of sex. Now, they're succeeded. Because the way we dress, you incite the dog in man. Now you can make a man civilized, or you can, that's right, let the dogs out. Now, sisters, with your beauty and your beautiful form, how do you feel when a man looks at you and says, oh, man, sure I'd like to meet her? Do you think he wants to meet you here? He don't care what kind of brain you got. Because what he sees is what he wants. And that's the way you've introduced that man to you. So when you start the conversation, it don't last long before you hear where the conversation is going. And then if he feels that you're so beautiful, your body's so fine, oh God, I would love to have this woman. And then if you want to hold on to yourself and you say, well, no, I ain't for that. He'll look at you and say, you ain't? Well, hell, you know, I ain't wasting no time with you then. Because Cindy over here and Susie over there and Mary around the corner, they're giving it up free. When you allow yourself to be degraded like that, you don't give us a chance to rise higher than we are. That's why Elijah Muhammad said, where there are no decent women, there are no decent men. You are the hallmark of civilized behavior, not a man. It's the woman. And when somebody will degrade your woman, you're finished. And if we allow it, the world will lose total respect for us if we allow our women to be like this and don't encourage them to be better than what we are. Let's conclude this with this. We have to own land. Elijah Muhammad said we need at least 100 million acres to make a start. Now, we built this country. Did you hear me? The sweat and the blood of our fathers made most of these people rich while we stayed in poverty. Now, you know, we could ask the government for what we've done for America. You have, let me see how much acres of land the government has, about 700 million in federal lands. We could say to the government, we worked for you, we built your country, we fought in all your wars, we died for your freedom while we were yet deprived. As a form of payment, reparations, give us a start, 100 million acres, and give us the equipment to be on that land, and we'll show you in a short while we'll produce enough jobs to put all of our people to work. And once we produce what we need, we'll sell the surplus, and that will give us trade and commerce with the nations of the earth. The whole world is out there waiting for us. It's we that have to get busy and start becoming a productive people. Now watch how this works. If the government says, I ain't giving you nothing. If you studied Thomas Jefferson, have you heard of him? Did you know that this president wanted to give black people land, separate us, give us land, and the implements on that land to farm it, seeds to plant. This is in his writings. But when they let us go, you know they promised you what? You didn't get the mule, and you didn't get the 40 acres, and here we are. So if they don't want to give it to us, America is for sale. Let me say it again. America is for sale. Now these dead fellas, they don't have much value. But if we put enough of this together, they love their face. You could get anything you want if you put your money together. But the first thing we have to do is start pooling resources. Now look, how many black brothers in basketball, pro ball, have become multi-millionaires, right?
That's right. Yes, sir.
What do they do with their money?
Right. Think about it.
Wait. No, listen to me. These are good brothers. They want to give back to their community. But you know who guides them? The same people that guide our entertainers. Where our entertainers end up famous, dead, and broke.
That's right. Go ahead, Brother.
And white folks send their children to college and build businesses because you don't know the value of your talent or the value of money. Now watch this. Brothers will set up a little community park with basketball money. And we applaud that. That's wonderful. They do good things, but they are guided by people who know the value of pooling money. How did Jewish people own most of the basketball teams? How did they do that? If you ever look, they're small in numbers. Have you ever considered how did they become so rich, so powerful, so influential? And you sitting here, you got more numbers. You got, next year they said $1.1 trillion will come through our hands, but it comes through our hands, it doesn't even circulate one time in the black community, and we give it all back to them. We're not wise people in the use of our talent and our money. Now, Mr. Stern is over the NBA, right? He could have guided those brothers. Do you know they put their money, some of them, in the stock market? Yeah, brother, you got millions of dollars. Come over here and invest in this, invest in that. And then you got people that manipulate the stock market. When the stock market goes down, what happened to the 401k that some of you had? You lost it because you invested in something that you don't control. Them people from Wall Street, they manipulate that stuff. They make it rise, they make it fall. And who's the loser? The little man. So now, suppose, look at this. There are nearly 50 million of us in America. How much can you put aside in one day to save? Let's say just a nickel. Just a nickel. You go to your children and they ask you for some money. Give them a nickel and see what they say. They'll cuss you out. When I was coming up, look at what you could buy for 5 cents. But today, you can't buy hardly anything for $1. So when your children come to you for money, you have to give them dollars. not nickels and dimes and quarters. But look, if there are 50 million of us, figure this out. And we just put aside 5 cents a day, 25 cents a week, $1 a month in a national treasury. At the end of a year with 5 million people doing this, you'd have $260 million. But with 50 million people doing it, you would have over $2 billion in 1 year. Now just think with me. Look how you throw away money and kill yourself at the same time. How many of you smoke? Don't raise your hands. How much do you pay for a pack of cigarettes? How much? $5? In some places it's $8. Now, if you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, you gotta spend $40 a week on cigarettes? Well, the students don't do that. When I was on the campus, I was the Lucky Strike representative. Hush, hush. And yeah, I was the Lucky Strike representative, and I smoked most of what they gave me to give out to the students. You know, when you're a college student, you don't have a lot of money, so any little deal come along like that, you take it and smoke most of it up, you know. But you that have a little and spend that kind of money on cigarettes, that's killing you. Now, if you develop the strength to say, I ain't smoking no more, I'm going to save that money and invest it collectively with others. Imagine the billions that we spend in cigarettes. If half of that we saved, how much does it cost to get a 6-pack? Ain't nobody talking. All right. How much? 18? $8. Well, I mean, rather you drinking some expensive beer, brother. That kind of money, if you even cut back on your beer, how much is that stuff that they give you now that you can get high in a can? Now, you Muslims shouldn't know nothing about that. And good Christians. But how much do you spend getting high? Uh-oh, did I hit a nerve? How much do you spend? How much does a reefer cost? I knew I was coming home. How much a reefer cost? Call the Drug Enforcement Association. It looked like this is a house full of smokers. But look, I came here tonight, I was high. Oh yes. I stay high. Yes. But not from smoking no reefer. See, when you with the Most High God, I'm high on knowledge, wisdom, understanding. I can wake up in the middle of the night and preach till the morning, never running out of wisdom, because I'm high, but I'm high in the right way. Now, when I used to smoke reefers, yes, I used to smoke reefers. I didn't fall down out of heaven. I rose up from hell just like you. But let me tell you, when I was buying reefers, it was 50 cents for a reefer. 50 cents. Now you know how old I am then, right? I must be a century old. 50 cents for a reefer. And we knew everybody that had good stuff. Why, that gunja would coming up from Jamaica and Ja Rastafari. Where you talk, man?
Tell it. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, Lord. Now one joint, what do you call it now, blunt? A what? Spliff. Oh, that's New York. It's a spliff in New York. But they call it a blunt in Texas. And the more you smoke it, you blunt it. Poor people. And they keep you high like that, spending your money. And today, they're putting chemicals on the marijuana to addict you. I never was addicted to a reefer. So when I became a Muslim, I could put it down. Cigarettes were harder for me to give up than a reefer. But today, you're addicted to a reefer. Now, how many are on crack? Call the police. Brothers and sisters, look, our lifestyle is killing us. Now, some of you sisters, you got grandmamas that when you go to grandma's house, grandma know how to cook. Grandma, you could smell the bread that she was baking when you coming up to the door. What's cooking at your house? Poor thing. Now, our women have become merchants of death. Say, baby, I'm coming over to the house for dinner. Okay, Sam, come on. Poor Sam, when he gets there, she goes in the freezer and bring out some peas that's been dead longer than Methuselah. Put it in the microwave and nukes it. Some mashed potatoes and a piece of fried chicken. Poor chicken. Not the best cut of chicken, but just chicken. And you wonder why we lead in cancer, we lead in diabetes, we lead in heart disease, we lead in every illness that the American people have. Black people are leading. What about AIDS? See, you would rather go to McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's and live in these kind of places rather than get decent, organically grown food to feed your body. I soon will be 80 years old, baby. Now look, let me say this. And, you know, I eat well. I have cooks, and my wife cooks, my daughters cook, and we're particular about what we put in our mouth. You know, right now, you eat these hormone chickens, hormone pig, hormone beef, hormone lamb. They're hitting them with all these kinds of antibiotics. Listen, you cook the meat, and a 9-year-old girl in the audience has a menses. 9 years old. When I was coming up, young girls were 13, 14, sometimes 15 before they had their menses. Today, a 9-year-old girl with a Barbie doll in one hand and a sanitary napkin in another. And look at the breasts. No, I'm not trying to direct you to the breasts. But look at the young women. Some of them bigger than their mothers. Hips, breasts, buttocks, and they're young. Where'd that come from, Farrakhan? I'm trying to show you that you've got to take control of what you put in your stomach. Farad Muhammad, the master that taught Elijah Muhammad, when he came, he took every medicine out of the medicine cabinet and threw it in the garbage pail. And he directed the sisters to the kitchen. And he said, this is your hospital. Not just you cooking for your family, but you're cooking in a way to give life to your husband and life to your children and life to yourself. And that's why having your own land, don't eat what the enemy is giving you to eat. You got to be a producer of what's going in your mouth. If you treat the cow right, the cow will treat you right. If you treat the land right, the land will produce everything we need, but we've got to love the earth and take good care of it. And our woman is our earth. We plant our future in our women, and if we take care of our women, they'll take care of us and give us children that will be the envy of the world. It's all in our hands. So I leave you with this thought. Hippocrates said, let your medicine be your food. Let your food be your medicine. So you that are studying agriculture, keep going. I read something recently that in the future, the stockbrokers will be the cab drivers, and the farmer will be the one driving Lamborghinis. Because once you got the power of land and what the land produces, and you are producing what you eat, that's the opportunity that you have at Prairie View. That's the opportunity that you can make. Just put some money together as a group and buy land and grow food and take care of that land, and watch, in a short while your diseases will flee from you, because everything that you need to cure our ills is right in the earth that our mighty Creator created for us. So Prairie View, I didn't preach a fire and brimstone talk, but it seemed to me that this college in particular has such a rich heritage. some wonderful people have tried to make Prairie View serve young people and make young people masters of their destiny. When you master the land, you master your destiny. And those white folk that own the plantations, look how rich and powerful they are. They brought our fathers to work the plantation for nothing. That's why we have an aversion to farming. And we've let land go. Some of our parents died and left us land, and we didn't even care about the land that they left us. We let the taxes eat it up. White folks come, take the land, because they know the value of the land. I'm going to close with this point. I want you to think on this, and then we'll take a few questions. There's a law called the law of use. Do you know why the native people lost the right to this land? We can say white folks came and stole it. They did. But you know what? When you got land and you're not doing nothing with it, then by the law of use, you lose your right to that land. There's another law, the law of abuse. When you have children and you abuse your children, the government can step in by that law of abuse and take your children from you. Right? Well, look at this. Our slave masters took this land from the indigenous people, brought us here to work it, and we did. But not only have they abused the people on the land, they have abused the land. The earth is poisoned now. So is the water. So is the air. So what do you think the God who created this is thinking about those that he allowed to have stewardship over the earth and over the people on the earth, and they have ruined the earth and destroyed the people? So it's written in both the Bible and the Quran that he takes the kingdom from whom he pleases and he gives it to whom he pleases. Did you know that it's you that God promised land to? The children of Israel is not over there in Israel. The children of Israel are right here, who have spent 400 years in bondage in America. And the God says, because of your suffering, he's going to give you land flowing with milk and honey. I wish I could go into that. But if the land is flowing with milk, there's cows on it. Go ahead. If the land is flowing with honey, there's bees pollinating fruits and vegetables. Oh my God. This is yours, all of it. And you have to claim this land. It is ours. We have earned it. God wants to give it to us. Rise up and unite your dollars. Buy it if you can. But the land is now belonging to you. Thank you for listening, and may Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Who's gonna handle the question?
Jesse's right behind you.
Jesse, come on. You mind if I take a few questions? What time is it?
I got 3 of them for you, Brother Minister.
20 minutes to 9?
I got 3 of them for you.
We'll stop at 9 o'clock. Are there others in the whole overflow room?
Yes, sir.
Where is that located?
Right across the street, sir. Student center.
To those of you who are in the overflow room, if you hold your places, I just want to come over and see you and greet you and thank you for coming out. Thank you. Did you know that the school offered us $5,000 as an honorarium to come here tonight? And I told the school, I don't want the money. Take the money and give a scholarship to one of the worthy students.
Brother Minister, the first question, these 3 questions come from Twitter. The first question, sir, is how do we deal with the prison industrial complex?
Stay out of prison. You're being trapped into life of crime. When there's no jobs, there's no opportunities, then there's always crime, the sale of drugs and whatnot. And you notice they're changing now the mandatory sentencing for crack cocaine as opposed to powdered cocaine. So what they're going to have to do is let a whole lot of our brothers and sisters out of prison who have been really unjustly given more time than they should have been given. But the sad thing is they're coming out on a street where there are no jobs. And that's why we have to come together and create opportunities. And believe me, that will be the destruction of the prison industrial complex. This is by design. I think it's is it the 13th Amendment?
That's right.
The 13th Amendment grants you freedom. But once you become a felon, they have a right to put you back into slavery. So what's happening today, they're filling the prisons with mostly black and brown people, and we are working, building things, making things for little or no money, back in slavery again. So righteousness, see, that's the thing you're running from. But when you accept to live right, to be right, to treat each other right, then prison will close down because there won't be occupants.
Brother Minister, the second question is, who we think are leaders often mislead us. How do we as young people learn to lead with limited examples?
Jesus said it like this: all that came before me were thieves and robbers. There are sincere people who want to lead but don't know how. And that's why the Bible says if the blind lead the blind, both fall in the ditch. But if we were really acquainted with the Lord, you would never be without a leader. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. See, once I know who my leader is, well, I know my leader is Elijah Muhammad, but also the Lord. And he's not, I don't have to call him up on the phone. I reach up for him right here. I feed my mind on his word, his will, and his way. So I'm never without a leader. And I'm not looking for one, I have him. And so do you if you will claim him.
Brother Minister, the final question for tonight is, what was your relationship like with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King?
Beautiful question. First, I met Brother Malcolm in 1955. I never heard a black man talk like I heard Brother Malcolm speak. He convinced me to become a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Malcolm X was the first real man in my life, and I learned so much from him. And even though he took a different road, I know that I am not what I am if I did not know and be a student of Malcolm X. I'm saddened over what has happened in the Nation of Islam between us and our brother, but those are wounds that I pray God will help us to heal. The enemy is so frightened that black people listen to Farrakhan that they put it out that Farrakhan had something to do with the murder of Malcolm X. This is how wicked media is. Don't you know, as much as they hate me, if they had any proof that I did something like that, don't you know they would take me off the street in the twinkling of an eye and bury me under the jail? They're frightened. No, I had nothing to do with my brother's death, but I am what I am because I'm a good student. And I learned a lot from Brother Malcolm, but the teacher of both Malcolm, Muhammad Ali, myself, and thousands of others is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I would hope that you will all get more acquainted with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because God gifted us with a great man in our midst. So I thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attention, your attendance. Thank you for your questions. I hope that this night has been something of a blessing to you. Assalamu alaikum.
To the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, on behalf of the administration, faculty, and student body, I, Jaron Small, student body president, would like to thank you for coming to Prairie View A&M University this evening. You have enlightened us to understand that unification between everyone strengthens us as a whole to accomplish anything we put our minds to. I hope we all take something positive from the S.P.I.T Knowledge Series into our classrooms and Prairie View community. Again, thank you, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Brothers and sisters, as you exit today, we want to thank you so very much once again for your time and your attendance. We'd like to let you, each and every one of you, know that today's message, every single word that you heard this afternoon from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is available for you on DVD. It's available in the lobby as you exit. For those who cannot stay tonight, you're available to pick that DVD up tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here on the campus of Prairie View. For those who live in Houston, Texas, come on by Muhammad Mosque number 45. Once again, tonight's DVD. Every single word from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it is available for you. It is in the lobby. The DVD is available, also the CD. And for those who cannot stay tonight, visit us tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here on the campus of Prairie View and also at Muhammad Mosque number 45. We thank you so very much. Have a wonderful evening, a blessed night. For those who can, please follow the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan live on Twitter, www.twitter.com, as well as store.finalcall.com. We want to thank the students and thank all of those who came from MUI in Dallas. Again, we want to thank all of the students who traveled from Dallas, Texas to be here tonight. Once again, as you leave, brothers and sisters, we want you to know that we have available for you tonight's DVD and CD. It's in the lobby. For those who cannot stay tonight, you can visit us tomorrow right here on the campus at the Memorial Student Center on the first floor from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. For those who are in Houston and other places, you can visit us at Muhammad Mosque number 45, and you can also visit us at store.finalcall.com and get your DVD over the internet. Again, store.finalcall.com. Again, visit us in the lobby for your keynote address tonight on DVD and CD to hear more. Hear it again, share it with a family member, share it with a friend, share it with those who are not able to make it out tonight. The DVD and CD of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's address. It is available for you tonight right in the lobby area. You can also visit us tomorrow morning right here on the campus from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also visit us at Muhammad Mosque number 45.